First thing you got to do is make sure your Hyper-V is turned on. Turn Windows features on or off. Make sure you got Hyper-V on. Now for this demonstration, what I want to show you, this is what I do. It's not the right way, it's not the only way. This is going to be ultimately our topology. I'm on my laptop, on my Windows 11. We're going to put Ubuntu on here, and right now this laptop has Wi-Fi to the internet. You're going to need internet access for this to work, because you're going to want to download all these packages. So I'm going to show you why I'm telling you this here in a second. So now that your Hyper-V is installed or turned on, we're going to do, I already got one created for later, but we're going to do a new virtual machine. We're going to call it tacplus-ng. I choose generation 2. And then here we're going to do default switch. We're not going to use any kind of other setting because we need to get to the internet. I have an ISO in this directory. Okay. Before you start it, there's one setting you have to set. In security, the way I do it, you have to set that like so. Now, the ISO's mounted and it's ready to start. It's going to be all hunky-dory. This is just installing Ubuntu server. You gotta let it sit on this mirror address page for a while. Here, I just name it tacplusng, everything. I'm not a Linux user. I don't know what I'm doing. So, there we go. I don't do that. Install OpenSSH. I may have to in the future, but I don't now. Now it's going to install the whole blasted thing. This is going to take a minute or two, so you may want to skip ahead. Alright, so now it's done, and it's giving you the reboot now, and you can notice here you had a little time warp because I cut some of this out because it was pretty boring. Eject the ISO disk. I haven't seen this thing work right in a VM to reboot. It just kind of hangs. So once I hit the reboot button, I've been having to go in here and turn it off. But then I just start it back up and it runs like everything was fine. I'm not a VM expert, I'm not an Ubuntu expert, I'm not a Tacacs expert, I'm not a tacplus-ng expert. But I wanted to use tacplus-ng, so here we are. Now, this is where you put in all that information that you kind of just panic forgot, and that's why I use the same thing for everything. I'm sure that's like the worst form ever, and I don't care. Now, here's a prompt. That's nice, super handy. It doesn't really matter where you're at to do what we're about to do. So now we just start where I got it highlighted in the other one. We're going to get a package list refreshed, and then we're going to update the packages that are on it right now. Then we're going to go get the git clone. We're going to go get the git repository, and then we're going to get all the required packages, and then we're going to install the software. And then we're going to switch over to the other computer that I did all this to already, and we're going to run it, and I'm going to show you what a compile and a run looks like. I'm sorry, a configure and a run looks like over there. And then we can test some things out. So to do this, I needed an Ubuntu ISO, I needed internet access, and I use, for my terminal software, I like Terraturn. But you can use whatever terminal software you like. Alright, so now we're going to move to this one. For the next one, you see I got to change directory down to the event-driven servers directory. That directory was created by the git clone above, and it put it where I already was. So wherever you decide to put it, you're going to have to change directory down into it to do the configure. So we're just going to go down into it. Now you can do an E tab because there ain't nothing else in there. And if you wanted to know what is in there, do an ls. And you can see event-driven servers is the only thing in your home folder. So E tab complete. Now it says run this ./configure, and they give you a whole bunch of info, and what you want to look at is development files were not found for and a whole bunch of stuff. Notice that there was libcrypt and libpthread found already. Those must be either base or they were part of the build essentials. Regardless, we're just going to run the apt installer, install, and we're going to do libc errors dev y. I'm going to show you the first two. So these here are the names shown by the guy in his configure file, and these as well. But these are the actual package names you need to go get. So for every one of them that are shown in the development files were not found data section, these are the names of them. So we're going to basically do this right here, and then we'll be done. And this goes pretty fast. These are small. know, if you know what you're doing, you probably know you don't need every one of these for what you're probably trying to do. That's nice. I'm glad you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go ahead and just get all these. And I'm putting the -y in the ones that will ask you, are you sure you want to do, you know, the yes/no question. So I just preloaded them with the oh man, see that? My document's got missing the dash. Shame. Alright, and these two here as well. If I missed any, it'll tell me. I don't know if I did or not. So a way to find out if I missed any is just go back up until the configure. And libcurl was not found, which is funny because it's one of the ones you do kind of need. Alright, so libcurl for open SSL dev. Alright, so now we got them all. See, there's none missing. So now we gotta do a make. Big scary wall of text. Now we're gonna do a make install and get this thing installed where it needs to go. Alright, what's it telling you to do now? Navigate. So now we're going to make the config file where I think it belongs, but I don't know. Alright, so you can do / and it'll take you all the way up. I can do, so if we go in here and do a ls, if you can see it, there's an etc in there. I do etc. And now we're going to do sudo, we're going to do a touch tacplus-ng.cfg. And that created the file, so you can see it in the upper right, the fifth one down, there it is, it's made. Now we want to go into it. So we're going to use nano tacplus-ng.cfg. And here's your file. We're not going to type it, it's like 130 lines to get a base one. I'm going to put my base one in the comments and I'll pin it so you can just have mine. Good luck, you're going to have to type it. We're going to switch over now to the other one. Now, here's something to know. At this point, in my opinion, you don't need the internet anymore. So depending on how you're set up, you're going to be able to lose the internet. So I'm going to turn this off, turn off. Now, in your case, you're going to do this. You're going to go to settings. You're going to go to Hyper-V, and you're going to go to virtual switch manager. Right there. And you're going to create a new external switch. So you're going to hit create. And you're going to give it a name. You know, and I named mine. You can see up there, mine was named this, right? So you can see that right here. It was already in there. All right. So this one here, we're going to just get rid of. That one's my duplication. Then what you're going to do is you're going to connect it to your wired connection in my case, and I'm going to choose to allow the management operating system to share it. I'm going to hit OK. Now, you got to go to your VM that you just made, like this one here, we just made together. Go down to network adapter, here's default switch. You're going to change it to external switch and hit apply. And that's going to make it so that this thing is going to be able to actually talk to your switches out. You'll be able to talk to this is the really annoying part. You'll be able to talk to your switches with the default switch setting, but they won't be able to talk to you when it's time to do the Tacacs stuff, because the native computer won't know where to send the traffic to because it's coming inbound. So you got to do this. Now, I'm going to show you that I already did that here. Here it is. And it's all done. Alright, man, so I cut it, edited this up some. Here we go. Sorry if the transition wasn't good. Alright, let's get into this thing. So we're back in here again, but now this time I'm in my kind of running one, and you're hopefully in the one that you just built. So let's go back, change directory all the way to home, or whatever this root. Gotta go into the etc. Now I'm gonna show you I don't understand what just happened there. Embarrassing. I'm not good at. There we go. Let's look in here. Now I've got tac plus minimum, tacplus-ng, tacplus-ng test. So I'll show you my tac plus minimum, which is what ultimately I'm going to be providing. So in your case, you're going to want to do sudo nano tac plus, and then in your case it would be ng.cfg. In my case, it's minimum. Okay, here's the config. If you read the documentation, this first line has to look like this. And then you go on, and here's the config that I didn't make you watch me type. So I'll just pause it. You can pause it and look at it. It's up to you. I used things pretty much straight out of his examples, right? So that's what it looks like. Let's get out of here, Control X. And now I can run it from here. What I wonder is, I probably didn't show you how to set an IP address in here. In here, if you look, there's a directory called netplan in the blue, fourth column, fourth one down. You have to go into netplan. Then we have to list out the files in here. I have 50 cloud init YAML. So I can do this, tab complete, and I had to set mine up like this, and these are really important that there's 2 spaces, 4, 6, 8 to a hyphen and a space, and then the IP with a /24 in my case. So this file is in YAML format, and it's super important that it looks exactly like this. This sets your IP as shown above. And the ETH0 comes from, if I get out of here, if you do IPA, you can see that number 2 is my ETH0. That's my real interface. The LO is my loopback, or my home. You can see it's 127.0.0.1/8. So let's go back one step now. To run the program, you must use this. You don't have to do sudo if you're not doing logs. You don't have to do sudo if you are doing logs. It just won't create the logs. In your case, you're going to run this tacplus-ng because that's the file, your config file. Okay? And I'm using an absolute path, etc tacplusng.cfg. The tac_plus-ng is the name of it when it installs itself. So you're calling that, I don't know, program, service, process, whatever, and you're telling it this is the configuration script to run. So if you hit enter and you get no prompt, that means it's running. Now, let's just move on to the next thing. So this is, if you can see up here, it's COM5. So this unit here, I'm using COM, and I think it's admin, and then based on what I wrote, it's like admin with a capital A, exclamation point, 1783 CMS 10B. And you see I'm in the switch now, and there's no secret. So that's great. Now that's the COM port. And the reason that the COM port is a local login, even though the Tacacs server is running, is because of this right here. Authentication login, sorry, it's right here. I made a console auth local, doesn't call Tacacs plus, and then down below I assigned that authentication group to the con line, because I didn't want Tacacs taking over my console line. You can see it has a password of 1234. That doesn't do anything anymore because AAA is enabled. But so now let's go into this thing over SSH. So I'm going to try the same exact thing I just did, which is admin 1783 CMS 10B. And what it's going to do is it's going to complain that essentially that isn't the username and password to use. The reason, you can see the log happening, the reason is because the Tacacs server is up. So I actually have to use the Tacacs. Okay, so there you go. Demo worked, which is in the config. Demo got me in as a privileged user. And if I do a show run from here, you'll see the same configuration. Again here, see, it's the same stuff. Okay. I didn't show you how to dump all this into here, but that's not what this is about. But I'll show you what you need to put in here. You need a new AAA new model, and you need all this stuff right here to get something working. So then when you got that, you need, if you want the web to do the same thing, you're going to need to add these two. If you want the web browser, which I know a lot of people like to use, and then you're going to need this Tacacs server stuff. Kind of important. Has the key, tells it where it is, and then you're going to need login authentication console auth. Again, that references back to that unique rule up top. And I actually added some commands into the VTY lines that don't show up. I added all of these into the VTY line, but as you can see, they don't show up in the VTYs. So now let's go into here, into the web version. Now remember, this switch has it added, so it's going to be demo to get into this switch over the web as well. There's no difference. So now obviously we need to test this by getting rid of the Tacacs server as if it were unavailable or down, to show you that none of this essentially works. The demo won't work. But obviously this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the Ubuntu server. We're just going to Control-C to stop the Tacacs server from running. I don't ever save any passwords. So we're in it. Yeah. Let's log out. And let's try to log right back in with demo. Now, the Tacacs server, we stopped it. So what ended up happening is there's no answer from it. And I'm going to show you the password again that I entered. This is the local user password. Remember from the picture? So you put this in there, all of a sudden you can get back in. But if you were to try to use this before, which we tried with the SSH server, it denied this username and password because the Tacacs server was working. So you can kind of see how this is working. So again, this isn't a how to set yours up for a production environment. This is how to get this lasted software working so that you can, try stuff. And hopefully you found this not terribly infuriating. It took me about a week of work to get all this figured out exactly how I wanted it, just to get to kind of this point. Before I forgot how difficult it was, I wanted to make somebody a little helper, because this is pretty cool stuff to me. And obviously the main benefit, in my opinion, is I can go in here and I can change the dang password to 100 switches, right here. That's pretty cool, right? If you walk in here and you change the password, here's demo, user demo, password demo. If I change that to demo 1, I just changed the password to every single switch configured to talk to this server. That's pretty neat. But, whatever. So I'm going to have to review all this and make sure I watch it. What I will say is I'm running this Ubuntu VM on a laptop. Don't put this stuff on your production floor. I'm 3 months away from being comfortable putting anything onto this thing that matters to me. This is a hello world. This is to get you onto the training wheels. This has nothing to do with, a heat race on a dirt bike, okay? This is barely training wheels on a pedal bike. Okay, hopefully this will help. If you get it, people like me, my brain doesn't work so well when I'm just reading the manual. I kind of need something that works, and then the manual starts to make more sense. So my goal here really is to help get you something that'll kind of work so that you can kind of start reading the manual and stuff will start making sense. Have a good one.